Hello, dads. Great to see you again today. Today, I want to jump right in and I want to talk about LOVE, love. And it's not just the kind of love that you feel. I want to talk about the kind of love that we show to our kids. Because love, this real love, is really, really important. I mean, I'm preaching to the converted. We all know that love is really important when it comes to raising our kids. And love isn't just a feeling, it's an action. Love is a presence. When it comes to raising our kids, especially in today's world, it needs to be both soft and firm. So I'm going to get into this type of love, soft love and firm love. And it comes from a book called by a guy called Steve Biddulph. Anyway, it comes from comes from a book by Steve, and he talks about the book's called "The Complete Secrets to Happy Children," and he talks about this idea of kids needing two types of love: soft love and firm love. Now, soft love is this nurturing kind of love. It looks like hugs at bedtime. It's listening when they've had a tough day. It's probably sitting beside them and holding their hand or rubbing their leg or giving them a hug when they come in the door. It's about that type of love that is real, present and nurturing and is nice and warm. And that type of love says, I'm here with you, I'm present with you, no matter what. And this soft love, when you demonstrate it well, it creates this sense of safety, and all kids need to feel safe around their parents, particularly their dads. It builds connection rather than tearing down connection. And it communicates to your kids that, listen, you really matter to me. Not only do you matter to me, you matter to me just the way you are. It's not a demanding type of love of trying to convince our kids to conform to our ideas, but it's really present and nurturing. So that's this soft type of love, and you probably know people in your life that demonstrate this type of love. But that love in and of itself is great. But if that's the only type of love that you're demonstrating, then things. It's not a full picture of love, the type of love that our kids need, because they also need this firm type of love. And the firm type of love is a leading love. It guides and it leads and it points in a direction. And this kind of love is happy to set boundaries. It's happy to say no. This type of love is when you say no, you mean no. This really teaches responsibility to your kids. This type of firm love says, I care about you. I care about you so much that I'm going to guide you, and I'm not afraid to challenge you out of love when I need to. And the thing is, and we all know this, is that we'll have been conditioned to lean in one direction or the other. So some of you guys listening to this, you may look back in your past and go, well, yes, I could see my house was more about soft love or firm love, or there might have been a parent in your house that demonstrated more of a type of firm love than soft. And the reality is that our experience of growing up and the type of love that we experienced, it really impacts how we demonstrate and show love to our own kids. So you might lean one way or the other. So if you grew up in a home where love meant follow the rules and follow the expectations, but there wasn't much warmth to it, you probably learned how to do the firm love. and you might even struggle to open up or to comfort, or to show that soft side to you. I know for many years I struggled to show that soft side to me. People who knew me well knew that soft side. Or you might have came from a home that was full of warmth, where everyone felt seen and everyone felt heard and everyone felt connected. But there weren't very many boundaries, or the boundaries were blurry. You could get away with blue murder, as my mum would say. And maybe right now you find that it difficult to hold the line with your kids. When your kids push back, maybe you give in easily, or you might say no to things, and you change your mind when your kids throw tantrums or whatever it might be. So we often repeat the model that was demonstrated to us, or we swing the other way to avoid the pain that we remember. So if you grew up in a really firm, disciplined house, you might swing completely the other way, where there's a lack of boundaries and everything is all confused. But if you live in either extreme, it leaves something missing. So the real kind of power in soft love and in firm love is to get the balance right. That's where the power comes from. When soft love and firm love come together, that's when our kids really begin to flourish and really begin to thrive. So let's look at, how do we do that? How do we find that balance? I'm going to give you a few examples to bring it to life. So the first thing to bring it to life is to say this, it's important when we are setting boundaries that we do it with kindness. Boundaries and limitations don't have to be an angry thing, and this is something I had to learn as a father. My go-to was probably more on the firm side of things, and it still is, and I have to be really careful around my own language and my own tonality, and to learn how to say things with kindness. So, your kid might ask to stay up late on a school night, and you think, no, that's not going to happen. So you might want to say, I really know that you want to finish that movie. I know it's important to you, and I'd love to watch it with you, but, we both need sleep, so we'll finish it tomorrow. And you can really see the kindness in that and the warmth in that, rather than going, no, it's bedtime, you need to get to bed. I can't believe you're asking me that. And gosh, I sound like my granny there, but that's exactly what we need to be aware of. It's our tone and how we're saying things, and to try and find that happy balance of setting a boundary, but doing it with kindness. Really holding that boundary with warmth and with empathy. So the second thing that you may want to consider is to always follow through with your consequences. But again, do it in a calm disposition, do it with kindness. So, you might have a teenager who breaks one of the rules. Maybe they lied about where they were going or where they were during the day, and maybe your instant reaction is to get really annoyed, and I get that and I understand that. But being able to calm yourself down and choosing not to get raging and get angry, and from a calm, loving place, you can sit them down and you can say, listen, trust is really important in this house, and I really want to trust you, but what happened and the choices that you made really broke and hurt our trust. So I've made the decision that this weekend you're not going to go out at all, and I really think that we need to rebuild that trust again, and I'm going to be here, and we're going to work on that together. And again, choosing the right language and choosing how the tonality and how we do it. It's firm, but it's not harsh in any way. It's communicating love and kindness while holding the consequence. It's not about revenge in any way. It's about connection, and it's about relationship. And as I'm hearing this, and speaking this out. I'm saying this to myself as well. These are things that I need to practice. So the third thing is to be emotionally available, and don't be afraid to lead. So just imagine that your child's upset, maybe about a decision you made. Maybe you chose to, take to add on. Maybe you chose. What am I trying to say? Maybe you have decided that the phones need to be turned off at 6 o'clock. There you go. There's no use on the phone at 6 o'clock. And you communicate this to your child, and they really get upset. And you might say something like, I can see that you're really upset. I get it. I understand it. I really understand why you're upset. And the decision that I made wasn't to make you upset, wasn't to make you annoyed in any shape or form. But I just believe that this is the best thing for you and for us as a family, is that we're able to turn our devices off, to turn our phones off, and spend some quality time together. And I know that it's not what you want to hear right now, but that's the decision that we've made, and it's the best thing for us. And again, you're not backing down, you're acknowledging the emotion. You might even want to ask your kid, how do you feel about that decision? And have a conversation about it. The fourth thing is this. So, let your children feel both your strength and your tenderness, and because they need that. So imagine that you pick your kid up from school and they've had a tough day and they're sitting there quiet, and you can reach across and you can squeeze their shoulder and you can just say, I know something's up, and listen, you don't have to talk yet. I'm just glad to be here with you, and whenever you're ready, I'm going to be here ready to listen. And again, you've created space for connection, and without pressure, and without that balance, then we can fall on maybe too much love or too much firmness. So it's important to get that balance right, and to be able to show your strength and also show your tenderness. So this is what love looks like when it's balanced out. It's not about, and I say this in all my videos, it's not about being perfect here. It's not about having the perfect thing to say, but it's about the willingness to show up and to give it a go, and to practice, to be aware of your own emotional baggage and your own emotional state, and to be willing to protect your relationship with your kids, and for us to be able to change rather than expecting our kids to change. So if you think about it, soft love communicates you're safe. Firm love says, you're being led. And when you put those together, it really communicates you're being loved. You're being loved. You're being led, and you're being, there's a place of safety for you in this house. So I grew up in a house that had too much firmness, and I've really had to practice, leaning into being more warm, and trying to smile more, and trying to be more caring and nurturing. So if you grew up in a house like that, then maybe you want to practice that a little bit more. Practice the warmth, practice the hugging, practice the touching, practice the presence and that connection. Or if you grew up like some of my friends have, where there's just too much warmth and not enough boundaries, then maybe you want to practice and lean into setting boundaries and sticking to your decisions that you've made, even when there's fight back, even when it's tough, and even when it's difficult. So it's this balance that we need to create and we need to find, and the whole thing is it's practice. It is practice. So we gotta show up every day, dads, and we gotta be willing to practice. Where keep doing what we're strong at, keep developing that, keep leaning into that, keep growing that, but also notice where we're weak, and begin to practice showing up in the way that our kids need us to show up. Every single day is an opportunity to practice becoming the best version of ourselves, the best dads that we can be. Listen, hope that was helpful. If it was helpful, and why don't you tag somebody in it or send the video on to another dad that you think might benefit from it, hearing it. You know, you can like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, you can do all that lovely stuff. And I will see you in the next video. Adios.